Bubonic plague spread across Asia and Europe in the 1300s and killed almost half of the population. The disease was carried in the blood of rats and was transferred to humans by fleas which had fed off the rats' blood. The first outbreak subsided with a few localized outbreaks in Tudor times, but it re-emerged in 1665. London was badly affected, and more than 20% of the population, 100,000 people, died. Symptoms of the plague included fever, red swellings around the neck, armpits and groin, vomiting blood, delirium and headaches. Death could occur within 24 hours. At the time, little was known about the cause of the disease, and doctors thought that bad smells and poor air quality were responsible. People were encouraged to carry posies of sweet-smelling flowers to protect themselves. The children's nursery rhyme, Ring a Ring a Roses, refers to the red rashes on the bodies of plague victims. The residents of the central English village of Eyam in Derbyshire showed unusual bravery, selfishness and altruism when the plague struck there, by self-isolating to protect neighbouring villages and towns, at the cost to them of 260 lives, which was a third of the population of the village. In September 1665, George Vickers, the village tailor, took delivery of some cloth from London. It was damp, and he shook it and hung it in front of the fire to dry. This released fleas which were living in the cloth. Vickers lodged with the Cooper family in a small cottage, and within a few days he had died from a strange fever. Within 2 weeks, one of Mrs. Cooper's sons had also died. There were a further 31 deaths that year, but the outbreak declined because of the cold weather as the fleas went into hibernation. However, in the summer of 1666, the disease came back with a vengeance, with 134 deaths in July and August alone. The new rector, William Montpesson, and his well-respected predecessor, Thomas Stanley, who still lived in the village, met to see what they could do to stop the plague from spreading. They persuaded the villagers to quarantine themselves in order to protect the neighbouring villages and towns. They all agreed not to leave the area, and outsiders were banned. Food was left in the boundary stone by neighbouring villagers and paid for with coins left within holes drilled in the stone. The coins were soaked in vinegar, which was thought to disinfect them. There were many sad and tragic incidents. Elizabeth Hancock and her family were tenants at Riley's farm on the edge of the village. In the space of 8 days in August 1666, she lost her husband and 6 children. She dragged the dead bodies of her family along the lanes outside the village and buried them herself in graves in a field. She survived and went to live with another son in Sheffield. William Montpesson's wife Catherine nursed the sick, but eventually succumbed herself and died also in August 1666. She is buried in the churchyard. After nearly 6 months of self-isolation, the death rate dropped. By spring 1667, Eyam was declared plague-free. The sacrifices of families such as the Thorpes, the Hancocks and the Hawksworths had prevented the spread to larger towns of Manchester and Sheffield. And that's all for now.